So my friend Sam had texted me the other day, and he asked me if I had ever saw the connections between the 1988 Super Bowl and the movie Poltergeist that came out in 1988. And I feel like I've looked at it before, but I didn't know gematria at the time. So I took another look at it, and it's super synced up to the Dodgers, who won the World Series in 1988. And also, I'm pretty sure that it's synced up to the Dodgers winning the Super Bowl again in 2017. And I'll explain that more as we go along, but basically, what happens in this movie that came out in 1982, there's this Super Bowl poster in the background that says 1988 Super Bowl, right? And on the day of the 1988 Super Bowl, the girl who plays Carol Ann in the movie ended up dying or she died the very next day, but she got sick the day of the Super Bowl being played. She died in San Diego where she got sick, and the Super Bowl in 1988 was played in San Diego. And, this is nothing new. Every single year there are multiple ritual sacrifices of people that are synced up to the Super Bowl. A recent example I can think of is like Bobby Christina, who was found in the bathtub or whatever before Super Bowl 49. Bobby Christina in Gematria equals 131, found on January 31st, a lot like 131. Super Bowl equals 131. Championship equals 131. The Seahawks won that year. Seahawks equal 48 in reverse reduced. And Bobby Brown is her real name. Bobby Brown equals 48, the small way. It was synced up to this year's Super Bowl as well, but I'm not going to go into that. Just wanted to show a very quick example of how there are these ritual sacrifices that happen. Also in Super Bowl 49, we got the story of Philip Seymour Hoffman dying, right? And they didn't tell us until Philip Phillips was singing singing the pregame show or whatever. Philip Phillips was singing the pregame show when we found out Philip Seymour Hoffman died. It was just after Uncle Phil on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air died. Much, much more. So let's move on with the story. Just wanted to kind of bring it in and show you what I'm talking about and why I'm bringing up this 1988 poster in the 1982 Poltergeist movie. So Carol Ann dies. One of the things that I noticed right away was that they have the Los Angeles Rams helmet right here. And the Los Angeles Rams didn't make the Super Bowl, but in Gematria, if you write out Los Angeles Rams, it equals 160, just like Carol Ann, the girl who died or got sick on the same day as the Super Bowl. And before I go any farther, too, if you don't know what gematria is, it's the practice of coding numbers into words, and it's used every single day in the media. Our sports leagues are scripted this way. They use it in movies, films, any type of propaganda that you've ever received in your life. This system is being used. It exists in your daily life as well. If you pay enough attention, your life is this way. And the people in power, I truly believe, just understand this knowledge and they use it to their advantage and they use it against us to control the mass of, the population. But I will leave a link in the description. You can check it out. It's 15 minutes and you can start applying it for yourself. And I'll leave a link to the Gematrinator calculator that you can use as well. And you can start applying it to yourself and, see how things sync up. Anyway, so in Gematria, the Super Bowl was in San Diego. This girl also died in San Diego. Just want to point it out. Born in San Diego, died in San Diego. San Diego in Gematria equals 38 the small way. Carol Ann the small way equals 38. Also, San Diego, California equals 162 the big way. And Major League Baseball equals 162. MLB equals 162. Baseball equals 162 in reverse. Major League Baseball plays 162 regular season games. No coincidence. And the reason that I bring that up is because in this film, right in the beginning too, her brother's wearing the Dodgers hat. Obviously, the movie takes place in Los Angeles, but the Dodgers later went on to win the World Series. And also, the Lakers won the NBA Finals that year. And I'll show why that's significant, but just wanted to point out that's why I was talking about the Major League Baseball there and showing the connections to San Diego, California. And there's a big parallel to this year because the Chargers, who originally were originally from San Diego, now play in Los Angeles. And there's also a connection to the Rams who play in Los Angeles. So, in regards to baseball, then, the same year that this girl died, the movie Poltergeist 3 came out in 1988, and it came out on June 10th. June 10th is the 162nd day of the year. So the 162nd day of the year, San Diego, California equals 162. All of these connections to baseball. Her brother's wearing the Dodgers hat. The Dodgers win the World Series the same year she dies. The same year this movie comes out on the 162nd day of the year. Also, that film then, it came out on June 10th, which was 130 days after she died. Washington equals 130 in gematria. And Washington was the ones who won the Super Bowl, the day before she died. So Washington equals 130. They won the Super Bowl just before she died. I even pointed out, too, that right as I type Super Bowl, I always document these weird things that happen when I'm making posts and whatever else. I typed Super Bowl, and the TV said Super Bowl exactly when I was typing the word. Out of nowhere, just a random coincidence. And if you watch my other videos, I talk about this a lot, how these things happen all the time, and it's always coded by the numbers. But it was the episode of The Simpsons called Simpson Rama, or Simpsorama. And it was the one mixed with Futurama, and Dr. Farnsworth said that they shoot the Super Bowl losers to space, which is interesting if you watch some of my other stuff. I've talked a lot about how there is a space theme interrelated into the Jesuits and some angel theme, and I'm not going to lose you, but it's just interesting. Just to note, if you go back and watch and read my blog, which I'll leave a link in the description as well, you'll see that I've been mentioning a lot about a space theme for over a year now. So also in regards to the Dodgers winning that year, Carol Ann, what's her real name here? I keep calling her Carol Ann in this post, and I probably will, but her real name's Heather Michelle O'Rourke. But she died 36 days after her birthday at the age of 12, and Dodgers in gematria equals 36 the reduced way, and also 36 the reverse reduced way. And they're here, that's what she says, that's one of the famous lines of the movie. They're here equals 117. Dodgers equal 117 in the reverse method. I've been talking a lot about the Twins as well, and the Twins won the World Series just before she died in 1987, and she died 99 days after the Twins won the World Series, and she died in San Diego, California. That equals 99 the small way. It's also 3 months, 7 days. Los Angeles equals 37. And what stuck out to me was that the Twins beat St. Louis. And, the Rams used to play in St. Louis, and now they play in Los Angeles again. And the Chargers used to play in San Diego, and now they play in Los Angeles. And if you go back and look, the Chargers, when they originally decided they were going to move to LA, they tweeted a picture on January 12th of a logo that looked like the Los Angeles Dodgers logo, and everybody made fun of it or whatever. So then they changed it again on January 13th, 1/13, right? 113. We're going into the 113th World Series this year. And thinking about the Rams and also the Chargers, I started thinking about the big story we had a while back with the Charlottesville, the Dodge rammed into all of the the people at, the neo-Nazi rally or whatever in Charlottesville, a lot of people originally reported that it was a Dodge Charger, but it was a Dodge Challenger. But just interesting to know, a Dodge, right? Think about the Dodge and the Dodgers, and it rammed into the people or whatever. Charlottesville equals 89, the reverse reduced, just like Los Angeles Dodgers. Charlottesville equals 181, the big way, just like Los Angeles Dodgers. Virginia equals 89. Also, the Chargers in January, the same day that the Chargers tweeted the LA symbol, or, the one that looked like the Dodgers symbol, they hired the former Redskins offensive coordinator, Sean McVay, as their coach, right? And the Redskins were the ones who won the Super Bowl in 1988 that was connected to Poltergeist. So the Chargers hire him the same day they tweet that, coming from the Redskins. The Chargers' former coach was Mike McCoy. He's now coaching the Denver Broncos, or he's coaching with the Denver Broncos, and that's the team that the Redskins beat in 1988 in the Super Bowl in San Diego. The current coach of the Chargers was officially hired on January 13th, a lot like 113. His name, Anthony Lynn, equals 162, like Major League Baseball and so on. San Diego, California. Fitting he would be the Chargers coach, even though they're not in San Diego anymore. But if you look in here, he started his coaching career with the Denver Broncos, right? So once again, another connection between Washington and Denver and the Chargers, all connected to the 1988 Super Bowl and the movie Poltergeist. Also, if you go from the day that this girl died in 1988 to the day that the World Series began in 1988, a span of 257 days, Washington Redskins equals 257 in the reverse. Redskins have a connection to the Dodgers as well. Redskins equal 36. Dodgers equal 36. And I just pointed out Washington equals 140 in reverse. They just hired Sean McVay as their coach. Sean McVay equals 140 in reverse. And in regards to the movie Poltergeist, the television is like a big piece of where the ghosts are and all that. Television equals 130 and 140 in reverse, just like Washington. Washington also equals 130, identical to the word television. So also in 1988, the Lakers beat the Detroit Pistons in the NBA Finals. Los Angeles Lakers equal 257, just like Washington Redskins. And the Washington Redskins won the Super Bowl 257 days before the Dodgers. The World Series began that the Dodgers won that year. Los Angeles once again. I then pointed out in the post that it would make sense for the team that won it in 1988 to win it again this year, just for the fact that our president is Trump, that equals 88 in gematria, and the World Series begins on the Black Thursday, on the 88th anniversary of the stock market crash happening. Herbert Hoover was the president when the stock market crashed. H is the eighth letter. 88. We just had Hurricane Harvey, HH. The only person to die in Charlottesville was Heather Heyer, HH, 88. The neo-Nazis use, they love the number 88 or HH for Heil Hitler, and so on. So it would make a lot of sense, especially considering that was also 29 years ago. 88, 17, and 12, yeah. 29 years ago, and everything about the stock market crash was with the number 29. It happened, the only president from Iowa was the president. Iowa's the 29th state. I've talked about it before. Kinnick Stadium, where the Hawkeyes play, built in 1929. Iowa has Interstate 29 that goes all the way through it from north to south. The stock market crash happened in the year 29 when the only president from the 29th state was president. Happened on the 29th of October was when Black Tuesday happened. The 29th prime is also 109, the 29th prime number. and Los Angeles equals 109. So who knows, you know? It, there was a bunch of other stuff, you know, stock market crash equals 185, just like Donald John Trump equals 185. If you interesting, you know, I'm just going to write this out here, but if you write out stock market crash of 1929, it equals 162. Possibly just a coincidence since it's so big and a big long phrase, but just wanted to throw it out there, you know, syncing up to the baseball, and this is the 88th anniversary. It just seems so fitting. But let's move on here. So, I also pointed out Carol Ann on Poltergeist. She died on the 32nd day of the year, February 1st. The Denver Broncos, if you notice, lost by 32 points. So she dies on the 32nd day, just after the Denver Broncos lose by 32. Denver equals 32. Broncos equal 32. If you know the history of football, the first Super Bowl that Denver won was Super Bowl 32, and it was in San Diego as well. The 32nd prime number, 131. It was played on 131, Super Bowl 131, Championship 131. And John Elway was the quarterback of the Broncos, which is interesting because John Elway equals 130 in reverse, just like Washington, the team that he lost to. And I also pointed out that John Elway is from Port Angeles, Washington, where Gabe Reigart is from. I'll leave a link to that video in my description. It's one of my most trolled videos for whatever the reason. It came out on the Jesuit anniversary. I kept talking about how there was this connection to the angel Gabriel and angel Michael, and I just kept getting these weird comments at certain times, and it was all connected back to this Gabe Reigart video. So who knows? You know, I've been saying that the World Series is super significant and set up to the Jesuits and whatnot as well. The Pope Francis is the first Jesuit pope. Angeles means angels, right? Los Angeles. Elway's from Port Angeles. But like I said, I'll leave a link in the description to that video. You can check it out. Elway also went to high school in Granada Hills, which is in Los Angeles. And I just made a video about how there's these weird connections between my band and things that I've been talking about. My drummer is originally from Granada Hills, Los Angeles. And the other guy in the band he lived in Minneapolis for a while. And I've been talking about possibly getting the Twins and the Dodgers in the World Series. So who knows, you know, just pretty weird stuff. Angels also equals 32, like Broncos, like Denver. If you write out Super Bowl 32 as words, it equals 197 in reverse. Just like Los Angeles, California. Denver Broncos equal 197 in reverse. Super Bowl 22 equals 197. That's when the Denver Broncos lost to the Washington Redskins in 1988. 197, all synced up to Los Angeles, California, who in 1988 won the NBA Finals and won the World Series. The last thing I pointed out was the San Diego Stadium in 1988 was called Jack Murphy Stadium, and it was named after Jack Murphy, who died at the age of 57. But look, he was born in Denver and died in Los Angeles. How interesting. World Series equals 57, like the age that he died. So, I also, at the very end of this post, I wrote in here about I should watch the new Poltergeist movie because it might have some clues. And honestly, I didn't really see much. But I did notice at the very end of the movie, the kid is wearing this hat right here with the red H on it. And their bumper sticker or whatever says it's something with an H. I can't even remember what it is right now. I should have taken a screenshot of it. I think it was HH, you know, something high school, like Hampton High School or something like that. I think it was the Wildcats. I don't know why I didn't take a picture of it, but just wearing the red H hat I was wondering about Houston, right? It just makes me wonder, but who knows? I don't think Houston's going to be in the World Series, but there's a few interesting things I've noted on my blog that if they are, I guarantee it's connected to some of the stuff, such as this Poltergeist movie. So, maybe the H stands for something else. And, but it's the only time in the whole movie that I even noticed any reference to baseball or anything else, So, who knows? Just something to think about. Just pointing it out. I still don't think that it is for the Astros, but guess I'm gonna leave it at that. Just wanted to show these connections to the '88 whatever '88 Super Bowl and how it's even more so connected to the movie Poltergeist. Most people, on YouTube haven't talked about this before. It's some new information for other people. Los Angeles Rams equals the same as Carol Ann and all of these other connections. So if you learn gematria, it will truly expand your knowledge of, finding truth. It explains a whole lot more of all of these weird things going on and everything else. So check out the video in the description, apply it for yourself, and have a good one. Actually, one last thing I forgot to point out. I forgot to talk about her. The Carol Ann's real name is Heather Michelle O'Rourke. That equals 110 in the reverse reduced. And she died on 2 plus 1 plus 19 plus 88. That equals 110. And in regards to, I've been talking a lot about the Twins. Minnesota equals 110. So, something to think about. She also equals 223, which is a number you often see around sacrifice and whatever else, like the synagogue of Satan equals 223. The word Masonic equals 223. 223, the reverse of the skull and bones that everybody knows about. 322. Friday the 13th equals 223. It's a number that's often seen around sacrifice, so fitting that she would be ritually sacrificed and whatever else. But I believe I'm done now. Have a good one.